Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are again back with another topic. The name of the topic this time is the consumer equilibrium analysis. So to understand consumer equilibrium, which is a part of microeconomics, we must be very careful in understanding consumer first and equilibrium secondly. I'd like to ask everybody to listen very minutely about what or whom do we consider as consumer. To tell you who is a consumer, we must tell consumer are those economic agents who consumes final or finished goods and services to get satisfaction out of it. Being a consumer, if I want to buy different goods and services, I can buy it, but my main objective is to get satisfaction out of it. So every consumer think in having fulfillment of two things. Number one is they all want to maximize their satisfaction, which is also known as utility, by minimizing their expenditure. So maximization of satisfaction by minimizing my expenditure is a sole objective of every consumer. তাহলে প্রত্যেকটা কনজিউমার কি মনে করে? প্রত্যেকটা কনজিউমার মনে করে যে তাদের স্যাটিসফ্যাকশনকে তারা ম্যাক্সিমাইজ করি। আমি যখন ফুচকা দোকানে ফুচকা খাচ্ছি, আমি 10 টাকা যখন স্পেন্ড করছি, সেই 10 টাকায় ফুচকা খাওয়ার পর আমি যদি আরেকটা এক্সট্রা ফাও চাইতে পারি, কারণ ওই একটা এক্সট্রা আমাকে কিছু হলেও তো এক্সট্রা স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন দেবে, রাইট? তাই সেই ফুচকা কাকুর কাছেই ফুচকা খেতে হবে যে ফুচকা কাকু একটা এক্সট্রা ফাও দেয়, রাইট? কারণ আমরা প্রত্যেকটা কনজিউমার নিয়ারলি একই রকম চিন্তা ভাবনা করি. We all want to get the highest satisfaction by minimizing our expenditure. তাহলে maximizing satisfaction by minimizing the expenditure যেখানে হয় সেই স্টেটটাকে আমরা the state of equilibrium নামে চিনি. সেই সিচুয়েশনটাকে আমরা the situation of equilibrium নামে চিনি. So the word equilibrium refers to, so what we were talking about was utility, about equilibrium rather. So equilibrium is a situation or a state. Equilibrium is a situation or a state where every economic agent want to stay. Economic agent here means a consumer also want to stay, a producer also wants to stay. That's why we get consumer to be going to equilibrium. We find producer also moving towards equilibrium. So equilibrium is the best position where every economic agent wants to move. Now if you ask me a question, what is equilibrium? I must say you, equilibrium refers to a more saturated situation. It refers to the optimum situation or a situation of optimality. A situation which is the best one, where you don't find excess, where you don't find deficit. Where you don't find excess, where you don't find deficit. Suppose আমি বিয়ে বাড়িতে খেতে গেলাম আমার দুটো ছাত্রকে নিয়ে। আমি মাঝখানে বসেছিলাম, যতটুকু খেতে দিয়েছিলাম ততটুকুই খেলাম, রাইট? তার মানে এমনভাবে খেলাম যাতে করে আমার যতটুকু খাওয়ার প্রয়োজন, আমি যতটুকু ইনটেক করতে পারবো, আমি ততটুকুই খেলাম। বাট রাইট আপ টু মি দেয়ার ওয়াজ আ গার্ল হু ওয়াজ মেনটেনিং হার ডায়েট, অ্যান্ড ও মনে করলো যে খুব অল্প অল্প করে খেতে হবে, রাইট? পাঁচ যদি মেকআপটা নষ্ট হয়ে যায়, তো তাই তার এক্সেসিভ ডায়েটের দিকে তাকিয়ে সে কী করলো, বাড়িতে এসে মাকে আবার বললো, মা একটু ভাতটা ছড়াবে, খুব খিদে পাচ্ছে, এত এটিকেট দেখাতে গেছি মেকআপের জন্য যে আলটিমেটলি কি হলো, না খেয়ে বাড়ি চলে এসেছি। বলো, হোয়াট ইজ দ্যাট? ডেফিসিয়েন্সি. হোয়াট ইজ দ্যাট? ডেফিসিয়েন্সি. The girl is basically in deficiency, scarcity. She required much more, but she didn't get that, right? On the other hand, to my left there was a boy who was a foodie man. Now उसको घंटा फर्क पड़ता है कौन देख रहा है मुझ पे कौन नहीं, only खाने दो मुझे, खाने दो और खाने दो. That's why I have taken the boy over there. Now there, when I went taking that particular boy, he started eating and the caterer was so furious on all three of us that why have you all taken this fellow over there, right? Now that fellow was so full, he was so filled with the entire food that it was very hard for both of us to carry him to his home. Now look, where is he? He is in surplus. He has went for excess amount. That what was required. Than what was required. So in the right hand side I find an individual who is going to deficiency. In the left I find an individual who has got a surplus. Who am I? A man who is neither in surplus nor in deficit. I am in equilibrium. The state of optimality or a state of saturation. The best situation. where you neither get excess nor you get deficit. There lies the concept of equilibrium. The equilibrium can be of two types. In economics, basically, of many types, but in economics, very core economics, we can understand that as it is classified into two heads. One is known as consumer equilibrium, and other one is known as producer equilibrium. This chapter focuses on consumer equilibrium. So a consumer whose main objective is to get satisfaction, if he is made to go to equilibrium, he can achieve equilibrium by fulfilling two conditions. Number one, at that particular state of equilibrium, he had to get the highest satisfaction by doing the least expenditure. তাহলে সবথেকে কম খরচ করব কিন্তু সবথেকে বেশি স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন পাবো। বাস্তব জীবনটা তা নয়। বাস্তব জীবনে ভালো স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন পেতে গেলে খরচ বেশি করতেই হয়। বাট ইকুইলিব্রিয়াম হচ্ছে সেই একটা অপটিমাম সিচুয়েশন যেখানে আমরা পৌঁছানোর চেষ্টা করি, যেখানে গেলে একটা কনজিউমার তার স্যাটিসফ্যাকশনকে ম্যাক্সিমাইজ করতে পারে আর তার খরচকে, তার এক্সপেন্ডিচারকে মিনিমাইজ করতে পারে। যখন দুটো কন্ডিশন একসাথে কোনো একটি জায়গায় ফুলফিল হয়, সেই জায়গাটিকে আমি ইকুইলিব্রিয়াম নামে চিনি। I guess I'm clear to everybody. If you have any doubt, don't forget to comment on the description box below with all the questions and all the doubts, and even if you have any other ideas of equilibrium, don't forget to share it. We are now understanding another important topic or a subtopic of this chapter, consumer equilibrium. তাহলে আমরা একটু বুঝতে পারলাম that all the consumer here who are sitting are all consumer. We are all buying different goods and services to get satisfaction. Now to get satisfaction when you are a consumer, we are having an objective to get into that particular position called equilibrium. আমরা সবাই কোথায় যেতে চাই? ইকুইলিব্রিয়াম পেতে চাই। কে না পেতে চাই ইকুইলিব্রিয়ামে বল? কে না থাকতে চাই ইকুইলিব্রিয়ামে? সব থেকে পিসফুল এবং স্যাচুরেটেড সিচুয়েশনে কে না যেতে চায়? Everybody wants to reach equilibrium. Everybody wants to get the highest utility or satisfaction by doing minimum expenditure. তাই নয় কি? Yes. So now we are understanding this consumer equilibrium in a very elaborative manner. Point to be noted, my dear. Consumer can reach equilibrium by two ways. The first path was shown by Alfred Marshall, and that path was known as cardinal utility approach. The path was known as cardinal utility approach. On the other hand, we have another path to reach to equilibrium. The another path to reach equilibrium is ordinal utility approach. What utility? Ordinal utility approach. ORDINL. Ordinal utility approach. Now, you are very curious to know what is the difference between these two approaches. Cardinal utility approach was given by Alfred Marshall, the classical economist who have given the welfare definition of economics. That Alfred Marshall have given the cardinal economic and the cardinal utility analysis. On the other hand, ordinal utility analysis was given by Professor J.R. Hicks. Professor J.R. Hicks, point to be noted, not Hicks, Professor J.R. Hicks. From the Hicksian school, he have been very renowned economist of our time, of this era, and of the particular economics era rather. So Hicks or Professor J.R. Hicks have showed us about the ordinal approach of understanding utility. Now, before moving on to the two approaches to find out the utility, I must tell you the clear definition of what utility stands for. In economics, we do not use the word satisfaction. I am using my mobile and I'm getting satisfaction by using that. I am using my pen and getting satisfaction by using that. I am eating a rasgulla and getting satisfaction by using that. I don't use the word satisfaction in my economics. I use rather another synonym. The another synonym to this satisfaction is known as utility. Utility. U-T-I-L-I-T-Y. The word utility can be described or can be defined in two ways. Number one, if I use this particular pen and get some amount of satisfaction, this amount of satisfaction is known as the utility from this pen. So what is utility? The amount of satisfaction derived from using a commodity is a utility of that commodity. I think I'm clear to everybody. The amount of satisfaction derived by consuming a commodity is known as utility of that commodity. But it have another good definition, which is always asked in board, is what is expected from the board evaluators who is taking a copy, right? They will give you marks if you write another definition. Another definition is, one satisfying power of a commodity is a utility of that commodity. I am having an ice cream. I'm having an ice cream. Now tell me, that ice cream can satisfy me and can satisfy you both. But to me, it is providing less satisfaction. To you, it is providing more satisfaction. It may happen. So, চাহিদা পূরণ করার ক্ষমতা, want satisfying power of a commodity, আমার চাহিদাকে পূরণ করার ক্ষমতাকে বলা হয় সেই বস্তুটি বা সেই কমোডিটির ইউটিলিটি। আইসক্রিমটা খেয়ে আমার চাহিদাকে আমি পূরণ করেছি, আমার চাহিদাটাকে কতটা পূরণ করতে পারছি সেটা হচ্ছে সেই বস্তুটির বা সেই কমোডিটির ইউটিলিটি। Want satisfying power of a commodity, and you have to write the thing what I just now told you. What is utility? If it's asked, you have to write this particular line first. Want satisfying power of a commodity is the utility of that commodity. একটা আইসক্রিমের ইউটিলিটি কি? একটা আইসক্রিম আমার চাহিদাকে কতখানি পূরণ করতে পারছে সেটা হচ্ছে ওই আইসক্রিমের ইউটিলিটি। Am I clear? Now the word utility is very much perspective. It is very relative. It differs from one man to another man. It is a very type of relative concept, মানে খুব আপেক্ষিক একটা কনসেপ্ট। আমার কাছে যেখান থেকে ইউটিলিটি অনেক বেশি, তোর কাছে সেই জিনিসটা ইউটিলিটি একেবারে নাও থাকতে পারে। সাপোজ ফর ইউ বিং আ ফিজিক্স স্টুডেন্ট, for you a physics book is providing you the higher satisfaction, but me being an economics teacher, I am getting huge satisfaction from my economics book, right? I love burger, and that's the reason I get huge satisfaction from burger. But you always is facing cough and cold, and that's the reason you do not get any satisfaction from ice cream. So every commodity may not have same satisfaction to everybody. It differs from one man to another. It even differs from one type of commodity to another type of commodity. Understood? To understand the different features of utility, the first feature of utility says that utility is subjective. Utility is subjective. What do you understand by subjective? একটাই আইসক্রিম আমাকে যতখানি স্যাটিসফাই করছে নিশ্চয়ই একই রকম স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন মিস্টার রাহুলকে করবে না? নিশ্চয়ই একই রকম স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন মিস্টার এক্স কি করবে না? একই রকম স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন মিস্টার ওয়াই কি করবে না? একই রকম স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন তোকেও করবে না, তোদের কাউকে করবে না। ইয়েস অর নো? তাহলে একটা কমোডিটি এক একটি ব্যক্তিকে এক এক রকম স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন দিতে পারে। আর সেম কমোডিটি ক্যান প্রোভাইড different satisfaction to different individual. That's the reason utility is subjective in nature. Now, utility have the second feature. The second feature of utility talks about that it is not measurable. It's a non-measurable thing. Exactly. Utility is what? Your satisfaction. Can you measure your satisfaction? স্যার আমি না আইসক্রিমকে 500 কেজি স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন পেলাম, আমি রসগোল্লা খেয়েছিলাম বড্ড ভালোবাসি স্যার, ও বাবা এত কেজি স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন ভাবতেই পারবেন না আপনি। ক্যান ইউ সে? নেভার। আই লাভ মাই প্যারেন্ট 500 কিলোমিটার, right? No, sorry. Dad 600 kilometer and mom 1000 kilometer. He slapped me the last night. Can I say? I can never say. So satisfaction can never be measurable. The word satisfaction can never be measurable. It's non-measurable, right? The next feature to this utility is what? It is that utility is relative in nature. Utility is relative in nature. Now what do the word relative in nature say? If I get a huge satisfaction from ice cream, you may not get the same. If I get very less satisfaction from tea, you may get a higher satisfaction from the tea. If I get to have a huge satisfaction from watching movie, you may not get the same, right? So it is what? Relative. It varies from one man to another man. The word utility is subjective and even relative. একটাই জিনিসের বিভিন্ন জনের কাছে বিভিন্ন রকম উইলিটি থাকতে পারে। যেরকম when you are sick you understand the utility of medicine, but when you are fit enough you will never understand the utility of oxygen also. When you are sick, when the people of our country was facing COVID and when they were being attacked by the particular virus, and that when they were affected by the particular virus, we must say that they have understood that utility is huge for oxygen. When they were grappling for getting the oxygen, at that time they have understood what is the utility from oxygen is. So utility is very much relative in nature. Understood? Coming up to the last feature that it says that utility and usefulness differs. Utility is completely different from usefulness. In our country or in your locality, you may find many people who tells that smoking gives them a huge satisfaction. There are few people who are addicted to liquor and they get a huge satisfaction by drinking. So those drunkard or those smoker, those who get a huge satisfaction from doing all those activities, provide them utility or satisfaction, and that's the reason they are doing that. But tell me, taking up a liquor or getting to have a cigarette in your hand, that's useful for your health? Is that useful for your health? It is never useful for your health. So its utility and usefulness are two different stories. A same commodity can provide you utility, but it is not at all useful for your health. Right? Another most important feature which is not mentioned here is utility. Utility do not have any moral or legal connotation. Sometimes it is said that it's ethical connotation. Maybe it's there. So ethical connotation. What do you understand by the word ethical connotation? Let's take an example. If you ask a robber, if you have a friend like who is a thief, right? I don't think you have any. But still, if you ask a thief or a robbery in the custody of police that, hey fellow, why do you carry gun in your pocket always? He will tell you, I love to carry this gun and for doing my dacoity or doing my robbery or doing my theft. That actually gives me a huge satisfaction, sir. But tell me, doing a robbery and doing a theft, is it legal? It's illegal. So do it have any legal connotation? No. There are murderers, so those who are assassinating people, those who are murdering people, or killing people. Those murderers, those who take money and kill people, those are murderers. They get satisfaction by killing others. Tell me, do it have any ethical values? Any moral values? Not at all. So utility is completely different from your moral values. You may do something that provides you satisfaction or utility which do not have any moral values. I think I'm clear to everybody about the understanding of utility. Now coming up across the definition and basically not definition, the understanding of the path by which Alfred Marshall and our Professor Hicks have shown us. Alfred Marshall was the first one who made us understand the concept of utility. He was the one who said utility can be measured cardinally. The word cardinal means in numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all cardinal numbers. He told utility can be measured, sir. Utility can be measured with a unit. The unit is known as utils, UTILS, like the distance is measured in meter, centimeter and kilometer. Similarly, utility can also be measured with a unit known as utils, UTILS, 50 utils, 70 utils. I've taken an ice cream and by consuming an ice cream I got 100 utils of satisfaction. Right? Who told this one? Alfred Marshall. Who told this one? Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall was what economist? Classical economist. What economist? Yes. So being a classical economist, Alfred Marshall told that utility can be measured with the help of cardinal numbers like 1, 2, 3 and 4. And it can be measured with a proper unit known as utils. Right? But after a few years, another economist, Professor J.R. Hicks, he was a modern economist. Being a modern economist, Professor Hicks told this entire concept of utility is a vague concept, is a false concept. You can never understand satisfaction by measuring with the help of numbers. How is it? Is it not weird to measure my satisfaction with the help of numbers? Indeed, it is weird. That's the reason he told and proclaimed that, sir, utility is never measurable. Utility is non-measurable. Rather, utility can be ranked according to preferential order. Like suppose Shansara went to a particular cafeteria, and in the cafeteria it was written 50 rupees average beverages. I asked the particular waiter, hey boy, tell me what you have. He came up with a list. And with a big catalog and a big particular portfolio of different type of items, when he came in front of me and he told, sir, we have cold coffee with cream, cost 50 rupees. What is the price? 50 rupees. Right? I told, fine, I can get it. He told, sir, we have another option. He told me the second option. He told me we also have 50 rupees coffee also. He also told me, sir, 50 rupees का मुझे डालगोना कभी भी मिलेगा. He told 50 rupees में TV मिलेगा. Now tell me, when I have 4 options to be paid at the same price, 50 rupees, I'm going for a choice. I'm going for my preferences. Being an individual consumer, I preferred cold coffee with cream, right? To have all those white mustaches after taking it, to have the high satisfaction. I thought that will provide me the high satisfaction. I preferred them more. So I made my preference list at number 1. What? Cold coffee with cream. My second preference was coffee. My third preference was dalgona coffee. And the last preference was tea. Now tell me, what I did? I have not went for 1, 2, 3, 4 utils. I went for first, second, third and fourth. What is this first, second, third and fourth? Ranking. So the concept of ordinal utility is very simple. Ordinal means to rank. So ordinal utility says when you understand utility by ranking according to preferential order, we call it as ordinal concept of understanding utility. So cardinal and ordinal had made a very nice differences, very wonderful visible differences. Cardinal was given by Alfred Marshall. Ordinal was given by Professor J.R. Hicks. Number 2, cardinal was the one which showed us that utility can be measured. Ordinal utility showed us that utility can never be measured, rather can be ranked. Ordinal says that it is utils through which you can measure utility. Ordinal says it is only the rank like first, second, third and fourth that helps you to understand utility, not measure. I think I have made it entirely clear. Now, by the last point on measuring, we have 2 approaches under cardinal utility. One is known as single commodity case approach. Another one is known as equi-marginal utility approach to understand utility. আর কারা দিয়েছিল এই দুটো অ্যাপ্রোচ? অ্যালফ্রেড মার্শাল দিয়েছিল। আবারও বলছি, কার্ডিনাল ইউটিলিটি অনুযায়ী যদি তুমি কোনো কনজিউমারকে ইকুইলিব্রিয়ামে পৌঁছাতে চাও, তাহলে ইকুইলিব্রিয়ামে যাওয়ার জন্য দুটো রাস্তা বার করে দিয়েছিল। কে? প্রফেসর অ্যালফ্রেড মার্শাল। কার্ডিনাল ইউটিলিটি দুটো রাস্তা বার করে দেয় একটা কনজিউমারকে ইকুইলিব্রিয়ামে পৌঁছানোর জন্য। একটা রাস্তার নাম হচ্ছে সিঙ্গেল কমোডিটি কেস অ্যাপ্রোচ, আরেকটা রাস্তার নাম হচ্ছে ডাবল কমোডিটি কেস অ্যাপ্রোচ, যেটাকে আমরা ইকুই মার্জিনাল ইউটিলিটি বলি। আই গেস আই এম ক্লিয়ার। আর অর্ডিনাল ইউটিলিটি দিয়েছিল প্রফেসর J.R. হিক্স, আর তার মতে ইকুইলিব্রিয়ামে পৌঁছানোর একটাই রাস্তা আছে, দ্যাট ইজ নোন অ্যাজ ইনডিফারেন্স কার্ভ ইউটিলিটি অ্যানালিসিস বা ইনডিফারেন্স কার্ভ অ্যানালিসিস, ইনডিফারেন্স কার্ভ অ্যাপ্রোচ বা ইনডিফারেন্স কার্ভ অ্যানালিসিস। তাহলে আমাদের সিলেবাস অনুযায়ী, if you talk about CBSE and ISC, we have only 3 approaches in our syllabus. One is single commodity case approach of 6 marks. Another is the double commodity case approach, which is also known as equi-marginal utility, 6 marks. And we also have indifference curve analysis or IC analysis of 6 marks.